Henry IV. Through my political experience as monarch of France, I have demonstrated my ability to lead with the selflessness, reason, and compassion that America values. France was devastated at the start of my reign. Peasants were starving, commercial activity declined, local nobles ran a medieval society, and religious wars of Catholics and Huguenots divided the people. However, under my lead, I was called Henry le Grand, or the Great, as my visionary policies made France great again. Just like I did in France, I plan to pull America out of the darkness and into a new light. To understand what I intend to do, we must trace back my roots. I was born as heir to the throne of Navarre, a French province. Raised as a Calvinist, I joined the military as a leader of the Protestant forces and witnessed chaos in France, which I vowed to change. To unite my people and acquire the throne of a Catholic country, I converted to Catholicism, compromising everything I was taught. Why? Because I'm a servant of the people. I would do anything for this country at any personal sacrifice, because America is worth a mass, and I am here to change it for the better. To begin, one of my most notable policies that sets me apart from the rest is my emphasis on equality. As survivor of the St. Bartholomew Days massacre, I've personally experienced discrimination and will fight to end it in all forms. I do not seek revenge or share this hatred. In 1598, I issued the Edict of Nantes, granting religious freedom and civil rights, such as holding office or having an education, to Huguenots in over 150 towns, restoring internal peace. We ordain that there shall be no distinction made in respect to the said religion in receiving pupils into colleges and schools, nor in receiving the sick and poor into hospitals and public charities.
Because of Henry, I was able to pursue a university education, even in a Catholic country, and acquire the skills to have a successful job and life. Henry recognizes my value in society, and as president, I know that he will make it possible for everyone to pursue the American dream too.
In this country, where white supremacy, homophobia, and Islamophobia remain all too prevalent, Henry will advocate for racial and religious minorities, gay rights, women's rights, transgender rights, and rights for people with disabilities. He embodies liberty and justice for all. It's a shame that this was not the case when Philip II expelled the Moriscos, or when Cardinal Richelieu and Louis XIV revoked Henry's work in the Edict of Nantes to persecute the Huguenots, or when Donald Trump issued a travel ban against Muslim immigrants. Their bigotry will weaken the economy by driving out the country's most industrious citizens. How can Henry's opponents unite the American people by dividing them?
In addition to preserving diversity, raising the living standard is one of my utmost concerns. I once said, I want no peasant in my kingdom so poor that he is unable to have a chicken in his pot. Through personal visits to villages, I understood the plight of the French peasant and can also sympathize with the struggles of blue-collar workers in America.
I am a single parent and have 7 children to raise. I work 9 hours as a farmer and depend on Henry's policies for aiding the poor. He believes that minimum wage should be a living wage and that everyone deserves access to quality health care. Thanks, Henry IV. Henry has also sharply reduced taxes for us and charges wealthy officials an annual fee for the right to pass their positions on to heirs. Henry IV supports the poor!
In America, Henry will implement a surcharge to make sure Wall Street and wealthy corporations do not pay a lower tax rate than hardworking middle-class families. He will advocate for equal pay, guarantee paid leave, and provide relief from the rising costs of childcare, housing, and college tuition. Meanwhile, Louis XIV is relaxing in his $2 billion Versailles Palace, funded by taxpayer money, while 9/10 of his country remains impoverished. He won't even tax his nobles just so he can appease them. Sad.
I have a plan to meet these interests and maintain the economy at the same time. In France, I encouraged mercantilism by increasing the domestic production of cloth, tapestry, glass, and silk, as well as placing a tax on foreign goods. I supported exploration and saw the potential of acquiring fur in Quebec. To support agriculture, I hired Dutch immigrants to drain swamps and create fields. I also reformed the city of Paris with commissions for canals, bridges, roads, and buildings. Within 10 years, I employed thousands and reduced the national debt by 50%. Can Trump do that? I don't think so.
Henry is the reason I have a job. He has employed thousands of craftsmen and artists to to transform Paris from a medieval settlement into the center of culture.
So far, we have built the Pont Neuf Bridge over the River Seine, which gives citizens a reason to go out and explore for the first time. Henry has also commissioned a university to promote higher learning, a gallery in the Louvre, and the Tuileries Gardens, residential balconies to watch over the new city, and the Palais Royal. If Henry is president, the gears of industry will not stop turning. In America, investments in infrastructure are half what they were 35 years ago. Henry plans to spend more on modernizing dams and wastewater systems to harness energy and create employment. He will also pursue trade policies that put job creation first and get tough on nations like China that seek to prosper at the expense of American workers. To make even more jobs for the middle class, he will reduce taxes on small businesses so that the money is wisely invested for its employees and the community. It's too bad that James I is on the verge of bankruptcy for wasting his budget on romantic affairs.
I declare bankruptcy!
While Peter I is so uncultured that he can't even think of ideas to save his own country.
During Henry's many public projects, he even protected forests from further devastation by planting pine, elm, and fruit trees next to new infrastructure. In America, he will address deforestation, climate change, and natural disasters with urgency. On the other hand, Donald Trump's hesitance to accept global warming and send aid to Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria has proven to be disastrous for both citizens and the environment.
Most of my opponents don't seem to get that a house divided against itself cannot stand. Therefore, my goal is to maintain peace at home, which I achieved by ending the wars of religion and will continue to support in America. I will respond to the 33,000 annual gun-related deaths by imposing extensive background checks for citizens to own guns. I also believe in maintaining fortified borders and a strong military at all times, but to only use it when necessary.
Catherine of Russia faced more than a dozen uprisings during her reign, which she responded to with violent military crackdowns. Cromwell, a militant dictator, killed over 200,000 people during the Irish Rebellion. Even worse, Charles I waged civil war against his own parliament when he couldn't get his way. Do you think he is capable of working with Congress?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
We cannot trust these reckless rulers with America.
My foreign policy is also based on preserving peace on an international scale, which can be done through cooperation with allies. In France, my foreign policy was to diminish the influence of the Spanish and Austrian Habsburgs without being aggressive enough to cause war. I did this by uniting against the Habsburgs with the Low Countries, parts of Italy, and principalities in Germany. Donald Trump, however, has shown dangerous aggression towards Kim Jong-un that has made some Americans fear nuclear war.
They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
As president, I will make foreign relationships a priority. I will pursue cautious relations with North Korea, but will work with close allies like Japan to increase economic sanctions and pressure China to condemn nuclear testing.
Therefore, if you think diversity is America's strength, not America's burden, join us.
If you believe in closing the wealth gap, join us.
If you want more employment, join us.
If you think universal health care and education is a right, join us.
If you think climate change is a problem that demands immediate action, join us.
If you believe that taxation and the cost of living must support everyone and not just those at the top, join us.
If you support peace at home and abroad, then join us. Vote Henry for a better America. My name is Henry Ford, and I approve this message.